Red Sea risk to oil very real. Prices could change rapidly if supply disrupted. Chevron CEO says, let me read this and then Tom, I'm coming to you. So here we go. The crisis in the Red Sea poses a serious risk to oil flows and prices could change quickly if tensions lead to a major supply disruption in the Middle East. Chevron CEO Michael Worth told CNBC on Tuesday, it's a very serious situation and seems to be getting worse. Worth said in an interview at the World Economic Forum in Davos, the Chevron CEO said he was surprised that U.S. crude oil was trading below $73 a barrel because the risk was very real. So much of the world's oil flows through the region that were to be cut off. I think you could see things change very rapidly. And he continues, we really have to watch this very, very carefully. Tom, what does this really mean to the average person?
Okay, the CEO of Chevron is saying that if the supply goes down and we're all still demanding, we still have demand for consumers and countries to have oil for energy and all the things that it creates, aviation gas, diesel fuel, gasoline for your car, the whole thing. What he's saying is that if supply is disrupted, prices are going to go up. But there's something most Americans don't know. And Rob, let's pull a couple charts here really, really quick. First of all, you have the U.S. facts chart. I sent you a link, U.S. facts. And then go down to the little chart down there. No, U.S. facts. I said there was 3 links in the email. One of them is just called from U.S. facts. There we go. Go down the bottom. The United States became energy independent in 2020. In other words, we produce more crude oil than we used in 2020, and there's been no turning back. No turning back whatsoever. And so what he's talking about is the supply and demand. He's saying, I'm surprised U.S. crude is below 73 a barrel, because if the supply goes down because of the Red Sea and the Houthis and you can't get shipping around, he would expect the price would go up because there's less oil going around and it's more valuable. And so that's the point he's making. And here in the United States, the oil companies pre-price gasoline. So if they think that the world market is going up for the oil, they charge us that price per barrel of oil. They don't charge us like a home team discount for the oil. So people think that, gas goes up in the United States because we can't get oil from the Middle East. It'll be terrible. Won't be able to drive our car. That's wrong. Last year, the total oil wells in America that were pumping, they shut off 35% of them because they were trying to move the price back up to the above 55 because they needed to be above 55 to make it economical for oil here. But check that out. There it is. And then 2 other real quick is you'll love this. So we produce more than we use. So we've been a net exporter, and on the spot market, our actually biggest trading partner is Canada. And so people don't seem to understand what they're talking about. So, and you get back to it, and when they pre-raise prices, that's when states like California had hearings on this. You're gouging. You think the price of oil is going to go up, so you raise it. And they go, yeah, sure we did. Right? Exxon made go back 2022, Exxon was $56 billion in profit. Chevron was $35 billion in profit. And we were ready to burn them at the stake and execute them because they pre-priced where the oil was going to go. Well, meanwhile, Amazon made $225 billion in profit. And we didn't talk about that, about driving small, community stores, retailers out of business. We didn't seem worried about that. But we tend to run to this. It's a simple supply and demand thing. The price of oil goes up. The price of oil goes down. And guess what? It affects us here too. So what Americans should worry about on an international stage is when oil is disrupted in the Middle East, guess what? U.S. companies can sell the oil we pump at a higher price to other people out there than we would sell it to ourselves, and that's why our gas goes up. But if World War III breaks out, we have got plenty of oil here in the United States. Drill, baby, drill.
Wow. So from a macro socioeconomic standpoint, let me tell you why this is important now. Because, listen, when's the first time you heard the word Houthi rebels? How long ago?
Oh, a couple years ago. Not too long ago.
Okay. Most people...
90% of people haven't.
Nobody's heard of these people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like they think it's Houthi and the Blowfish, if you think about it.
Sometimes
or they heard the word Somali pirate. Yeah, now they know who it is.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, Somalia is a totally different country than Yemen. The Houthis are in Yemen. But here's the point. Yeah, the Houthis aim to govern Yemen and support external forces against the United States, Israel, and Saudi Arabia. So what's my point is there's been a civil war in Yemen. Pay attention to the jihadists over here. Pay attention to the Gaza Brigade. There's been a civil war in Yemen since 2014. Nobody talks about this.
They don't.
Saudi Arabia and Iran are having a proxy war for the last decade. Millions of people in this country of Yemen have died. You don't hear about this. Where's the Gaza Brigade here talking about the innocent Arabs that are dying? And they should. And it's horrible. But the reality is once they start, when Israel gets involved and all of a sudden these regional conflicts pop up and Iran starts basically funding the Houthis and Hamas and Hezbollah, terrorist organizations, Iran is basically the greatest destabilizing force in the Middle East, possibly in the world other than China. All of a sudden, America's going to take notice because you know what America don't play with, and you know what the EU don't play with, you know what the UK don't play with? Their money. This right here, what country did we learn, or what the Horn of Africa, the one city that China has a base?
Djibouti.
Djibouti. And it's fun to say, and you know I like that.
I want to get to you in Djibouti.
But the reality is this Red Sea, this shipping area is one of the most busy ports, seas in the world. And the Houthi rebels are messing with people's money.
Big time.
And when you start messing with people's money, you start messing with trade routes, all of a sudden, we don't play that game right there. So what they're doing, the Houthis, to bring up Tom's point, they make the Somali pirates of I am the captain now, Tom Hanks, they make them look like the JV squad to echo what Obama said.
Osama bin
Obama about ISIS right there. But these Houthi rebels, again, funded by Iran, funding by the mafia-like regime that's going on in Iran, are looking to sow chaos. And in the world of 2024, we know that the word this year is chaos. U.S. represents order in a world of chaos in the Red Sea.
Meanwhile, Bernie Sanders says to force vote to freeze aid to Israel, and U.S. puts Houthis back on the terrorist list. This is a story from Wall Street Journal. The Biden administration plans to put Houthi rebel group on one of its list of terrorist organizations days after the U.S. launched strikes on its facilities in Yemen in retaliation for months of attacks on commercial vessels in the Red Sea. About time we're doing this. The designation bars people or companies in the U.S. from offering just about any kind of support to the group and prohibits its members from entering the U.S. It also requires U.S. financial institutions to freeze any funds they hold belonging to the group or under its control. And U.S. obviously recently carried out additional strikes against Houthis in Yemen while this is taking place. Adam, thoughts on this story?
Yeah, well, it just proves more and more and more that Bernie Sanders is a loser. Everybody knows it. So it's becoming clearer and clearer that the guy has never built anything in his life. I know we talked about Bernie Sanders here. All the socialists want to do, the Democratic socialists, is tear down. They've never built anything. What has Bernie Sanders ever done? He's a career
professional loser. He loses.
Politician.
He likes to lose.
He's done nothing.
Yep.
And he's basically spoiled milk at this point. So he's out there, whatever his stance are, I think we've realized there's no math, there's no numbers behind any of his opinions. You know, he used to basically stomp and raid and talk trash about millionaires. Then he became a millionaire. Then it moved to billionaires, right? How many times did he say millionaire, the millionaires and the millionaires? Now it's the millionaires and the billionaires. Now it's the billionaires. You're talking about somebody. So, and this whole concept of intersectionality, right? Of anyone who's oppressed has to identify with people who are oppressed around the world. Konstantin Kissin's the second time I've mentioned his name. He's trigonometry. He went in UK and he went to the people who are marching for Gaza, okay? And what's going on there is horrible, and nobody wants to see innocent civilian lives, period. Whether it's on the Israeli side, whether it's on the Gazan side, whether it's what's going on in Iran and Pakistan these days. If you see whether it's going on in Yemen, nobody wants to see innocent civilians. But in war, unfortunately, this is sort of the damage, the collateral damage that happens right there. And he started interviewing all these people that are holding signs. And he goes, what's this sign right here? Oh, we're calling for the socialist intifada. And he starts asking these people, white people in London who are marching. And he's like, what is a socialist intifada? They're like, honestly, dude, I got no clue what's going on.
I'm just
here.
holding the sign.
I got no clue, mate. They just gave me a sign. I'm out here. I don't want to see dead people. And what we realize is kind of like how Jamie Dimon was saying, ask questions like, why? What's going on here? What he did, and shout out to you, Konstantin, I sent you a text. He went, he's like, well, why do What's going on here? What does it mean from the river to the sea? What does this mean? What does that mean? They're like, mate, I got no idea. I got no clue what's going on.
So are they holding the sign?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what do they call it? Just like useful idiots out there marching in the real world. And you have a useful idiot, real life useful idiot like Bernie Sanders, who makes some noise. And he's inspired the squad and the AOCs and the Ilhan Omars and the Presleys of the world and the Rashida Tlaibs, and that's their weird cult leader. But this is someone who has built nothing in his life and only wants to tear something down.
And never, ever, ever trust anybody that combs his hair with a balloon. Have you seen his hair? Tom, Bernie Sanders, hey, look, I want to talk. I take a balloon. He's a professional loser, period. End of story.
You know, it's funny. When you look at things now.
His upper lip doesn't move when he talks.
It's funny. He should have been the one running against Trump. Two populists.
Look at that guy.
With different messages. Obviously, Hillary, did what she needed to do.
Look at that guy.
But it's becoming increasingly clearer and clearer, especially since being a part of Valuetainment. Capitalism is the way. Capitalism is how you basically lift people out of poverty, and this guy's peddling socialism, democratic socialism, but at the end of the day, it's all nonsense. And like Tom's analogy about splitting the orange, you only have one orange, and if you chop it up in half, you're going to get some, you're not going to get some. You got to create more
Tom
oranges.
was going somewhere else when he brought up the orange. I thought he was talking about like, additional source of income for Vinny, and I thought
vitamin C. I don't know what the hell, but you know what? Thank you for sharing.
It was slightly offensive, but I didn't know where he was going.
I really want to get your opinion on this because you actually, I know you're no fan of Bernie Sanders, but you've given him credit because he is a true believer.
Oh, listen, you know why AOC? A perfect story with AOC. AOC is unbelievable at what she does. Driver, salesperson of if you have AOC on your side, whatever the ideas she supports, she's going to be the loudest person selling those ideas. You don't have to agree with the ideas. Mm-hmm. You wish you had an AOC on your side. AOC is the kind of person you want. Same with Bernie. Again, don't agree with the ideas. Don't agree with his approach. Don't agree with 90% of the stuff that he talks about. Every once in a while, he does say some stuff where you're like, okay. This kind of does make sense. But you know what? He's such a true believer and a believer of, communism or socialism. The guy went on his honeymoon to freaking Russia.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable.
And not during the current Russia. We're talking
like USSR, Bolshevik Revolution.
You realize,
Russia.
where do you want to? Can you imagine, like somebody right now says, "Where do you want to go for your honeymoon?" The guy says, "Dude, for sure, we're going to Gaza." Because that's where we're going for a honeymoon. We're going to go to Iran for a honeymoon.
We're going to go hang out in Syria with Bashar al-Assad.
That's where we're going to
enjoy all the laps of luxuries that are going on there.
Says that, they're true believers. So this guy's a true believer. I just don't think he's got way too many contradictions in his arguments.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.